My name is Chippy and welcome to our app, Keeper. Keeper was created as an answer to the problem of losing good habits and routines, particularly during this period of lockdown and isolation. As a group early on, we decided we would like to challenge ourselves with new languages and user environments, and therefore settled on a cross-platform mobile app in a completely new language. Gamification was used throughout to encourage user interaction and, along with push notifications, to encourage users to return to the app. Keeping up good habits has never been so fun. All being children of the 90s in our group, the app developed a loose Tamagotchi-like feel to it, where your achievements in the real world affect the pet's health of those in the app. Healthy pets can go on and play games. Unhealthy pets, well, they can die. I'll take you through a quick demonstration of the app. When you open the app, you're taken to a Create Account page, but for the purposes of this demonstration, we're going to log into an account that we have already set up and created so you can see all the features. On sign in, you're taken to the home page, which is a page of all the goals which you have set for yourself. Those in yellow are ones that have been completed. Let's create a new goal. Here you can choose the pet that you would like to take care of in association with this goal. Like I said, Tamagotchi. We've chosen an axolotl here and chosen to name him Tim. Here you enter your top level goal, which you can then add habits to later. Here you can set an end date for your goal. It doesn't have to be completed, but this indicates when that goal is set to complete on your home screen. Each goal should have a habit underneath it. You can add as many habits as you like. And for each habit, you can adjust the frequency using this slider. This dictates how often you are reminded about this habit and how quickly that habit is set to outstanding. Here you can see the goal page. The app uses push notifications to encourage users to return to the app. You can see one here, which shows you that you've got some habits outstanding. Clicking on the notification takes you to the home page of the app. You can see which one's outstanding by the alert symbol which is next to it. Clicking here, you can see the outstanding habit is practicing yoga. On this page, you can also click to view a summary, which shows you the percentage of your habits that are actually complete. From here, you can also sign off that habit as being completed and return to the home page. For completed goals, you can click on them and choose to either complete them or extend the end date of that goal. We'll just complete this one now. This removes it from the home page. Towards the bottom of the screen, you can see a list of your pets. Scrolling along these pets, you can see they have varying levels of health. For example, Susie is healthy, which means that she is able to play the game. We'll show you that later. Grapes isn't quite healthy enough and reminds you that you need to keep up your habits to keep them healthy. Barry is dead. You can't play with dead pets. But for now, we'll click on Susie, who is healthy enough, and start the game. The game uses a joystick to control the animal as it flies through the sky. Hitting the clouds hurts the animal, and you collect coins in order to achieve badges which you can add to your user profile. The Medipack helps their health. But unfortunately for Susie, she has hit too many clouds and has died. However, you have earned one badge and this is added to your profile. You can see Susie is now dead at the bottom. Clicking on the nav bar, you can see your completed goals, which will give you a good sense of achievement. And also from the nav bar, you can see your user profile, which is where these badges appear, along with data about when they joined and how many goals they currently have.
For our front end, we decided to use Flutter as we wanted to challenge ourselves with learning a new and contemporary language. It is an open source framework allowing us to develop iOS and Android apps with one code base. While writing and debugging an app, Flutter has a hot reload feature. This allows changes to source code to be reflected immediately in the running app without requiring a restart or any loss of state. Flutter apps are based on a tree-like structure of widgets and classes, which felt quite intuitive from prior use of the HTML DOM and React previously used on the course. Flutter is written in Dart, which was a new language for us and a shift from functional to object-oriented programming. Syncfusion is a package we use for the animated data visualization. It is natively written in Dart and built for Flutter, and it was one of the more documented packages with a variety of options for something as new as Flutter. For the gamification side, we used SpriteWidget. This is a package to build high-performance animations and 2D games. This renders a tree structure of nodes and sprites. Images are loaded as sprite sheets using a JSON format. These images interact with each other using SpriteWidget's featured functions. We chose this as it is built for Flutter and 2D games, and within the time constraints and limited options for Flutter, it was more efficient than bringing in another language or framework such as Phaser.
Our entire backend is based on Google Firebase. We went with this for a couple of reasons, mainly due to the ease of integration with our Flutter frontend, as they're both made by Google, but also because a cloud server backend has other benefits. For example, it allows us to focus more development time on the core experience of our app, and also allows very easy scalability since everything is hosted by Google. We also felt that cloud services are getting more popular, so it seemed like it would be interesting to get familiar with. Our client side linked up with this using Google's official Flutter plugins, which use the Firebase SDK to interact with all the Firebase services on our backend. We used several parts of Firebase in our app. The most important is Cloud Firestore, a serverless NoSQL database that suited the kind of data we were looking to keep, and it was easy to structure the data in a logical way as a series of nested collections, documents, and fields. It was nice to work with once we got our heads around it, and very simple to make changes to the database when needed. Reading and writing to the database was also mostly straightforward, although if we'd have needed to make more complicated queries, it may have been quite tricky due to the nested structure of the data. Additionally, we used Firebase authentication. This handles all the password encryption and the secure storage of account information, so we have no sensitive user information stored in plain text or in our main database at all. Finally, we used Cloud Functions and Cloud Messaging. Our Cloud Functions were written in JavaScript and Node and deployed into the Google Cloud. These are functions which constantly listen for changes in the database. In this case, they're triggered when a user habit becomes overdue, and the function will write changes to the user document in response. A separate Cloud function is triggered by the user document change, and will call a function to initiate a push notification to the user at the appropriate time using the Cloud Messaging service. So that's our backend, and next up is James to talk about the challenges we faced.
Hello, my name's James, and I'm going to talk to you about the challenges we faced when making Keeper. So one of the first challenges we faced was based on the hardware we were using. We decided from the start we were going to make a cross-platform mobile application. This meant that when we were building the app, we would have to test it on both platforms. However, when building and testing an app for iOS, you need to be using a Mac. Not all of our team members were using a Mac, so that meant that they were unable to test the app on iOS. However, they were able to test the app on Android. The second limitation was that some of our hardware wasn't the most up-to-date, and this introduced some challenges when it came to actually building the app. It meant that it could take a long time, and especially when running it on some of the built-in device simulators, and that had an impact on our productivity. We also faced challenges to do with the fact that we were all working remotely. So, for example, it was quite difficult to do pair programming just because of the individual circumstances of some of our team members. So that meant that we couldn't necessarily work on code together. We had to do our different parts individually. And that did mean that there were some gaps in our understanding of what each other's pages did. But we did try to mitigate this by going through some of the code and took some of the changes that we'd made in our stand-ups, which we had 3 times daily. It did also mean that when we encountered technical difficulties, such as with the simulators or with some of the packages we were using, they were very hard to diagnose because we didn't have access to each other's machines, which we would have done had we been doing the project in person. one of the sort of fundamental challenges obviously was to do with the fact that we were using an entirely new framework and a new language to us. We did all make use of the online resources and documentation out there for Flutter, which was reasonably clear and easy to find. And we shared our knowledge in some of the stand-ups as well. However, for some of the packages we used, for example, SpriteWidget, which we used to make the game part of our app, some of the packages, those packages were very new, and that meant that there wasn't very much documentation out there, and there weren't very many examples either. So that meant that we had to kind of use trial and error. However, we did manage to get through that part of the app and make a functioning game. So I'm now going to pass you over to Hannah, who is going to talk to you about what we'd like to do in the future.
In the future, we would like to add iOS notifications. The package for notifications required a paid-for developer account for the iOS side. With more time, we could explore other options. Furthermore, we would like to expand the gamification side to include more rewards, develop the storyline, and include a leaderboard where you can play against your friends and family to encourage and support each other with your goals, as well as beat them, of course. Thank you so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. It was a challenge under the current circumstances and learning a new tech stack, but we are extremely proud of what we have made. Have a happy goal making, and remember, our true goal is to do our best, even if that means getting up and out of bed today. Stay safe and take care. We will be answering your questions in the comments.